Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny and I am so not an expert. Today we're going to be working on clue 5 of our Cotton Cuts Spring Puzzle Mystery Quilt. So sweet. I've picked the blueberry cake one because I thought the colors were really pretty, and I've loved the colors in our clues 1 through 4 so far. If you haven't already, make sure you check out those clues so you can see where we're at. I'll put a link in the description box below to the playlist, but otherwise, I've got clue 5. Let's crack it open. Alright guys, welcome back to the machine. Let's go ahead and crack this open. Sometimes I struggle with these, so this time I grab scissors. Just want to be careful not to cut the fabric. There we go. Alright, just make sure everything's out of there. Yep. Ooh, we got a new block of the month. Oh, this one's so pretty. Of course, it's because it's my colors. Take a look at that. Very cool. Very cool. It is for June. The finished block is a 12 by 12. All of these finished blocks are 12 by 12s. And this one shows it in 4 different colors. Now the idea is that you color the back side, because they give you an empty card in the back, you color the back side, and then you take a picture of it and you post it on their Facebook page, and people then vote for the best one and you can win a prize. I've been keeping these, I'm not sure why yet. I might be using them in another project, I'm not sure, but I like to keep them up right up there. You know, a whole big stack of them. Alright, so let's dive into clue 4, and I spy with my little eye something purple. Let's see what that is. Carefully slide it open. I don't want to mess up any of Cotton Cut's beautiful packing. They always make, their presentation is always so beautiful. It looks like there is something hidden underneath here. Let's see what this is. Oh, look at that. It's a cute little to-do list. Oh, and it's magnetic too. Oh, that's nice. So really cool. Like that a lot. Thank you, Cotton Cuts, for the wonderful gift. I'll set it aside for now and I'll put that in my kitchen later. All right, guys. Clue 5. Clue 5 is 4 pieces. Really cool pieces too. Can you guys see the blocks there? Really cool pieces. So let's take a look and see what we've got. Now, I don't have my little color chart up. Let me grab that real quick. I don't have any tape today to put the color away there like I have been, so I will have to dig around for the tape somewhere. But for now, we'll just leave it there. Alright, so this says we'll have 28 little white pieces. Now, these are tone on tone, so I'll go ahead and flip these around in just a minute. But for now, I'm just going to separate them out. We will have 8 fabric C's in triangles, which is these here. It looks like there's a little bit of a fold there, so I've got my iron heating up so I can go ahead and get all those pressed up nice and flat. Then we've got a fabric F in a triangle, which is this one here. And then we have large fabric E's in triangles, which are these here. And then we have 16 of the C squares. So lots of these today. So that'll be interesting. All right, let's see what step 1 is. Section 5, step 1. By the way, section 5 means we are halfway through with this quilt. Halfway through. So exciting. All right, this says take a C square, which is this one here, and an A triangle, which is this one here, and put them like this. And we're going to make 12 of those. My goodness. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get pieces pulled up, get them started on the machine. I'll bring you guys back here when we start pressing. As always, I have some leaders ready to go. If I need to pull those out for any reason to use those, I'll let you guys know what those are. Leaders are just little 1.5 inch pieces a little 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch pieces that you can feed into your sewing machine when you have these weird triangles, so that the machine doesn't kind of eat up the triangle corners. It works really well. I've used it quite a bit on a couple of other projects, so if I need to use it again, I will. All right, guys, I'm going to put these together. I will see you guys in just a minute. Just gonna chain piece these. That just means I'm gonna do them one right after the other, never pulling them off the machine. Saves on a little bit of thread and some time. Okay, I've got all the pieces sewn up ready to go. I've went ahead and finger pressed them. Just going to give them a hard press with the iron. You guys know after every step for cotton cuts, I always like to press every piece. So then that way it lays nice and flat so that it's ready for the next step. I try to finger press as much as I can. It just makes things easier when you go to pressing it so that it, you're pressing it nice and flat up against that seam. The triangles, you want to be careful not to stretch those. I know I've mentioned that before on the channel. I'm sure we will come across that situation later. So, okay, so these are all pressed up. Cotton Cuts tells you what direction to press them. Makes it super easy to do. So let me just pile these back up here and we will see what our next instructions are. All right, next step says join a small triangle A above a step unit 1 and make 8. Oh, okay. So we're basically making, well, not a flying geese, but a triangle of sorts. So, okay, so this one is, okay, so it goes that way, and then it takes another one of these. We go this way to make a triangle. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and sew these up real quick, guys, and I'll meet you guys back right here in just. All right, so it says to make 8 of these, so we're not going to use all 12 of these, but I'm just going to keep the whole pile there for now. I pulled up 8 of my white triangle, my tone-on-tone triangles. I've righted them already so that right sides are always facing up. Makes things a little bit easier for me. I've got this triangle laying this way, and then we're going to add this triangle to the top here like this. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it over this way. I'm gonna sew down this edge here. And if I do this correctly, because Cotton Cuts has cut all the pieces for me, there should be a 1/4 inch overlap of this top one to this one, and they should meet up at a 1/4 inch here, and they should have a nice pretty point to them. Let's see how that works out. Let me pull these off and let's see what they look like. Alright, now directions say to fold up towards this one, which is usually what you do in these cases. I'm going to go ahead and finger press that to see what it looks like. And that is what it looks like front. And now you'll have a 1/4 inch here, and that's okay, because when we sew this to whatever pieces we're going to be sewing it up next to, that 1/4 inch will disappear, and you'll end up with this beautiful, nice point at this triangle. So, all right, I'm going to get the other 7 of these sewn up, and I'll bring you guys right back. Okay, just finishing these up. I'm ironing them up. Now there is a little teeny tiny dog ear at the bottom of these triangles, and I'll try and show it to you on the camera in just a second here. You can do 2 things. One, you can just leave it as long as it's not in your way, or you can trim it up if you prefer. I usually leave it until I'm ready to sew it up to something else, and then I will trim it, which, I haven't looked at the next set of directions, so we might be trimming it now. Who knows? But you just use a really sharp pair of scissors or snips and just trim it off. It's really teeny tiny, but then that way, especially for me, because I use a guided 1/4 inch seam presser foot, quarter quarter-inch seam pressure foot. I use a guided one, so it means it has like this little piece of metal that the fabric glides up against, and when I have those little dog gears, they have a tendency to get all wrapped up. So let me see if I can show it to you on the camera. It's this little teeny tiny little corner right there. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that or not, but there's that little teeny tiny dog gear. So let's see if we need to trim that off now or if we can wait till later. And like I said before, we only did 8 of these. The direction said to only do 8. We had 12 of the other pieces, so we still have 4 of them left over here, which I'm sure we're going to use for something else later on in the directions. So next set of directions says join a step 2 unit to a large triangle E as shown. Okay, so we do need to trim up those dog ears. So I'm going to try and use my snips. Sometimes I end up having to use my scissors because they're a little bit sharper, but I'm just going to trim up that little bitty, teeny tiny, itty bitty corner, just so that everything lays a little bit better. All right. So, I mean, the pieces that I mean, they're super teeny, itty bitty tiny. So, but that little bitty piece will make me crazy. Okay. So, that's these here is the E's, and we need 8 of those. So 8. All right. And we're going to sew these up to the bottom corner. So we're going to sew them like this. Take that piece and take this piece to the top of it. And now I'm going to show you guys what I'm working with here a little bit. Okay, so I've got them lined up, and you can see down here at the bottom, the pieces don't match up exactly. And that's probably my fault. It's probably something that I did when I was sewing the pieces up together, because Cotton Cuts cuts these pieces with very precise precision. Precision? I'm not sure that's a word. But either way, they cut them very accurately. So I'm sure it has something to do with my sewing. But I'm going to make sure that this top edge is the one that matches up. I'm not going to worry too much about the bottom pieces, because we'll be able to fix all of that later when we put the pieces together. But this is the main part, because that's where I'm going to be sewing. So I want to make sure that that's up there. Now, because the bulk is on this one piece here, I'm going to leave that part up top so that I can watch it going through my machine to make sure it doesn't get all gunked up in there. So I'm going to... Got leaders if I need them. This is where those triangle corners are going to come into play, where my machine might start eating them up. So let's hope for the best. Usually if I start out real slow, get those first couple of stitches in, then it's usually not too bad. Let's see how it goes. That one went okay. So now I'm going to get to the bulk, and I'm going to just put my hand back here. And I'm not tugging, I'm just kind of holding it there. But I will give it like a very gentle tug if it needs it. Otherwise, I'm just helping to guide it through. All right, so there's one. All right, guys, I'm going to get the rest of these 7 up, sewn up here. If I run into any trouble, I'll bring you back. Otherwise, I'll see you again when we start pressing. Now, one of the other things that I'm doing as I'm sewing these up together is I'm watching this point here. Now, remember I mentioned this point earlier about how this there to there should be about 1/4 inch, and if it's not an exact 1/4 inch, that's okay. I wouldn't panic about it. You can actually make that adjustment now when you're sewing it up together. Let me show you. So if I put this piece together first to match those up, okay, so now when I lay it flat, now I've used a purple thread so it's really easy to see on this white fabric, but this right here is where it matches up. Right there. Okay, you can see where those 2 pieces are matching up. So what I want to do is when I'm sewing this, I want to make sure that I'm just to the right of that by 1 or 2 threads, so that what happens is when after I'm sewing it and I go to press it, there will be enough space there between the stitching and there that fabric has to fold a little bit, and when that fabric folds, it shouldn't cut off my points. So I'm going to be extra careful when I'm sewing those up, paying really close attention when I get to that point so that I don't get anything too bulky. No, sorry for the bouncing of the camera. I had my leg under the table. All right, here we go. Okay, so now I'm approaching that angle, so I'm just going to keep my eye on where the needle is, and I'm just going to slide it over just 1 or 2 threads and then back where it needs to be. Let me show you what we got here. Got a couple of pieces attached here, so I'm just going to separate those real quick. All right, so this, now you can see, let me get there. So you can see there's my corner, right there. And then there's the new stitching line that I made. So it's just a couple of threads. So when I go to press it up, I'm careful with this being a triangle. I don't want to pull too hard because I don't want to stretch it. I'm just going to push it gently. But you can see that I now have a really pretty, nice, crisp corner there. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these sewn up, and then I'm going to get them ironed up, and I will bring you guys right back. Okay, so as I mentioned before, these big triangle pieces are on the bias, which means that they are going to stretch a little bit. So I want to be really, really careful when I'm finger pressing these. I don't want to pull. I just kind of want to peel it back and push it. So I'm going to roll it back like this. I don't know if you guys can see my camera, but I'm going to roll it back, and then I'm just going to kind of smush it with my fingers. Now when I get to these here, and I normally, you guys saw me on the last one, I laid all my pieces out, I finger pressed them all, and then I just kind of pressed them all at once. Now when I'm doing these weird corners pieces, I like to do them one at a time so that I can really take my time and make sure that I'm not stretching anything. I'm just laying it nice and flat. Taking my time. Now I have 2 of these because I did the one on the example you guys just saw, so I have 2 of these. But then I'm going to do the rest of these one at a time. Alright, let me go ahead and finish pressing these up, and then we will see what the next step is. As I'm sewing these up together, I realize I sewed this one on backwards. So Mr. Jack and I are going to have an intimate gathering, and we will be right back with you. Alright, got that piece all fixed up together and back where it needed to go. And now the next set of directions say we're going to join a step 1 unit, which was these units here, above a step 3 unit, and make 4. So now we're only going to use 4 of these 8 that we've made. So the other 4 aside for now. I'm sure we'll come back to those. And then we're going to take these. So the directions say that we want to make sure this big triangle is in the bottom right corner, or I'm sorry, bottom left corner. And we're going to sew a piece to the top of it. So we're going to sew a piece up top like this. So let me get one sewn up together for you so you can see. Now we're going to have some nested seams here, which makes things much easier for us to make sure that everything lines up just perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and nest those seams up really closely. I've shown you guys nesting seams on many of my other videos. Okay, and then this says to press it up. So I'm going to go ahead and roll it up there. Press that way. Press this way. And then I get a nice, crisp, clean corner. Right there. Okay, those are all sewn up. So let's go ahead and get them pressed up together. Okay, so those are all sewn up together. And now it says join a small triangle A above a square C. Oh, so we're back to this again. All right. And we're going to make 4 of these. So okay, got those all sewn up and ironed up together. Just laying them back down. It looks like we're going to be assembling these to the larger block that we were working on earlier. Yes. So we're going to assemble these to the side here so that they make like a nice triangle piece. So there we go. Okay, just pressing this one towards the new piece that we just added. Let me just press these out. And then we can see what our next steps are. All right, next step says join a large triangle E to a step 6 unit and make 4. Okay, so we are going to be sewing on that corner. So let me just grab my snips here, and I'm just going to snip off these teeny tiny itty bitty little dog ears here. Just going to snip those off. Okay, did a little bit of a cleanup here. There's little pieces everywhere. I'm still finding them everywhere, but I did a little bit of cleanup. So now we're ready to go ahead and attach these triangle pieces to the top of this to make a full square, or a full block, I'm sorry. So I'm just going to orient these real quick so that they're all lined up the way they need to be, and then we're going to sew them up together. Alright, and it does say to press this one towards that newly entered triangle, so I'm not going to finger press, I'm just going to kind of smush because this is on the bias, so it's going to stretch, but I just want to show you guys what it looks like. Ta-da! And you can also see, because I was real careful when I went through, like I told you guys before, I was real careful when I went through that corner seam. So I did not cut off my little corner there on the top. It's really hard to see it on camera, but I promise you it's not cut off. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other 3 of these sewn up together. We'll get them pressed up, and then I think we're on to something different. I'll see you guys in just... Let's get these pressed up. This is that first one that I just did. Beautiful. I love these blocks. All right. We are all pressed up there. This is what our block looks like right now. Really, really pretty. Loving the fabrics. Really pretty. All right, so let's see what our next steps are. Well, it looks like we're moving on to something else. So I'm going to set those aside for now. It says join a small triangle F to a small triangle C. Now, F is this blue jean looking fabric here. That is our fabric F. And we're going to join that to a fabric C, which is this blue fabric that we've been working with. So, and we're going to make 4 of those. So let me just pull these out real quick. All right, that's all 4 pieces sewn up together. So let's just separate those real quick and then press them up towards the C fabric, which is this darker one. Okay, so the next step told us to make some more half square triangles in the remaining fabrics that we had for fabric C and fabric A. So I went ahead and did those and pressed those up already. So we've got those ready to go. So we're actually on step 10 now, which says join a step 8, which is these here. Join a step 8 unit above a step 9 unit and make 4. So it looks like we're going to be doing the F fabric at the top and the C fabric at the bottom, so it makes almost like a flying geese unit, except instead of it being a solid triangle here down at the bottom, it's 2 separate pieces. So let's go ahead and get those up together now. Shocker. All right, next pieces say to join a step 10 unit, which is the one we just made, to the right of a step 3 unit. Oof, okay, where is that one? That's these pieces here that we made before. Okay, and we're going to join those to the side here, like this. And then we're going to fold this way towards the big piece. There we go. All right, let me get these other ones sewn up together, and I'm going to bring. It looks like the very last step, step 12, is just putting these 2 pieces, the ones that we made before, and these pieces together. So it looks like we're going to attach them so that the triangles are going down. And we're going to attach this piece to the top so that these 2 blue fabric E's make a nice triangle. So we're just going to flip this one up. This is what our blue 5 looks like. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so pretty. Now these are 2 separate, on this side. This is 2 separate pieces that have gone together to make a triangle. And I think I nailed that triangle point right there. So I am really proud of that. I love this secondary design that's going on here. This like arrow piece here that's kind of going through. That's really neat. I'm liking that as well. I'm really curious to see what this one's going to look like. That's clue 5. That means we're already 50% of the way done with this one. I am so excited. If you're interested in joining the fun and you want to sign up for Cotton Cut's next quilt, which is going to their next PMQ, which is the fall one, starts, the first shipment goes out in July next month. So I'm really excited for that. We have signed up for that one here on the channel. So we're going to be doing that one together. If you guys want to join in, go over to www.cottoncuts.com and sign up over there. You can sign up for the large or the small size. They have a variety of colorways to choose from. A lot of them have sold out, but there's still a few of them left. We will be doing the Fataro. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It's this one here in the corner. It's a black and white with orange and pink accent colors. I am really excited to see what those variegated colors look like. Looks like it's got some butterflies and some flowers and some bugs on it, so that should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what that's going to end up looking like. And if you get the large one, then you guys can sew along with me as we go through that one. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week when we work on another project. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to the video. It does help the channel out tremendously. We're already at 80 plus subscribers, which is exciting. when we get to 100, I'll have a really big giveaway of some notions that I have laying around, some brand new notions that I have laying around that I'd love to give away to you guys. So I will see you guys again in another week or so. Bye!